Hello viewers, in our previous lecture we discussed the structure of heart. Now we are going to discuss the cardiac cycle. We talk about the heartbeat. I think you all have observed when heart beats, it produces two sounds. One is loop and second is dub. So we actually hear two different sounds, loop dub, loop dub, loop dub. So why these two different sounds are produced? What is the reason? We will discuss in cardiac cycle. When we talk about the heartbeat, to make single heartbeat, we will divide this heartbeat into two different phases. The first phase is called systole and second is diastole. Systole means contraction of ventricles, ventricular contraction. When ventricle contract, they pump the blood out of the heart. Second, the diastole. Diastole means relaxation of heart, the ventricles. When blood is moving back from body towards heart, at that time when blood enters in the chambers of heart, the ventricles relax. That is called diastole. So, ventricular relaxation. So, ventricular contraction, ventricular relaxation. So, these two phases, the systole and diastole, will make your heart beat. In adults, normal person, heart beats 72 times in a minute. In a minute, heart beats 72 times. And it takes almost 0.3 seconds for the systole to complete. It means this systole process will be completed into 0.3 seconds. And when we talk about diastole, it takes almost 0.5 seconds. Why it is taking more time? Because in diastole, number one, the blood is moving back to heart at low pressure. Second, the walls of the heart are going to be relaxed. That is the reason it takes more time. In ventricular contraction, the heart contracts forcefully to pump the blood out of the heart. That is the reason it takes lesser time. It takes almost 0.3 seconds to complete the process of systole. In the systolic pressure that is created by the heart, have you ever observed when your blood pressure is checked by any doctor, value is given in these digits? The normal blood pressure is 120/80. The pressure in the shape of numerator, actually that shows your systolic pressure, always higher, because in this state your heart is going to be contracted. When it contracts, the pressure will increase, blood will pump out of the heart. This value shows diastolic pressure. Diastolic pressure, when the blood is coming back to your heart, at that time the blood is at low pressure. So systole and diastole combine together to make one heartbeat. And when heartbeat goes and goes on all the time, it makes the cardiac cycle. So this cardiac cycle I divided into two parts, the systolic and diastolic part. And I told you the time that systole and diastole will take. In previous lecture I told you the different chambers of heart at different times. First, when atrium contracts and blood is moved into ventricles, there is a gap of 0.1 second. In all the four chambers will not contract at same time. There should be a gap. And I told you in previous lecture why there should be a gap. Because we have to channelize the flow of blood one way. Okay. Let me tell you further what happened when we talk about in detail. Normal human beings contain 5 to 6 liters of blood in their bodies. When we are having 5 to 6 liters of blood in our body, what do you think? What will be the amount of heart that will pass through the heart during one single beat of the heart? So keep in your mind, not the whole blood. Almost quarter liter blood will pass through your heart in a single beat of your heart. So almost it takes 20 beats to flow this whole blood throughout the body, and this whole blood will pass through your heart. And how many beats are there in single minute or heartbeats? Normal heartbeat is 72 times per minute. Okay, again, when we talk about the heartbeat, we divided it into two different parts. One is a systolic pressure, systolic duration of the heart. Systolic duration is a contraction of heart that takes almost 0.3 seconds, and then 0.4 second was the time that was taken by the diastole. So contraction and relaxation all the time when heart is passing through these phases. When heart will pass through these phases, it will make your heartbeats. And this heartbeat starts right from the time when an individual is in the womb of the mother till the time of death. It will be there in your body. One more interesting fact about the heart, even this heart is pulled out of the body, it can even then beat because it is made up of myogenic tissues. I told you myogenic tissues will not be under the control of your nervous system. They are not neurogenic in their function. They are myogenic. When if you provide this heart nutrition or you put in a proper nutrition, the muscles of heart can beat by themselves because they just require the nutrition. They need not to receive any type of information from the nervous system. Okay, now let's discuss how the heart will produce a beat. When we talk about the heart, the upper two chambers, we divided heart into 4 chambers, 2 atrium and 2 ventricles. being a myogenic tissue in its structure. Particular type of tissues are present in the right atrium. They make a specific point in right atrium that is called SAN. Actually, when these tissues present at a specific place, they make a node type structure. This node is called Sinoatrial node. What is the function of this sinoatrial node? It works like a battery. This is the battery which provides or which produces current for the heart for its contraction. Due to the presence of this SAN, heart will not depend on nervous system for receiving the information for its contraction of muscles. When wave of excitation is produced over here in the right side of the heart, the right atrium, this wave of excitation will travel horizontally towards the left atrium as well. In that case, both right and left atrium contracts at the same time. When they contract at the same time, atrioventricular valves get open and blood starts moving towards the ventricles. Now, what happens to these, the walls of ventricles, how the blood will come out of these two ventricles? We see in the septum, another node is present that is called AVN, atrioventricular node. This atrioventricular node receives the wave of excitation as well and rectify this wave of excitation towards the tissues which are present in the septum and wall of ventricle as well. When this wave of excitation travel towards this node, atrioventricular node, this atrioventricular node rectify this wave of excitation. So in this way, the wave will move into the Purkinje tissues which are present alongside the septum. These are Purkinje tissues. Message will pass through these Purkinje tissues and then will be conducted to the walls of ventricle. When this wave of excitation will reach to the walls of the ventricles, readily both ventricles will contract and they will pump the blood out of the heart. So in this case, blood will be pumped out of the heart through these two chambers, through these two ventricles. The left ventricle, from left ventricle through aorta, it will flow towards the body. This blood is oxygenated blood. In the right side, the deoxygenated blood, after passing through semilunar valve, will flow towards right and left lung. So this is a way in which both these nodes, the SAN and AVN, actually provide current, wave of excitation, This wave of excitation helps the muscles to contract in a way in which the atrium and ventricle contracts rhythmically and moves blood out of the heart. So this is called contraction. So over here, when we talk about the sound the heart will produce, the first one is called loop. So when this sound will be produced, when blood enters from atrium into the ventricle, and when ventricle contracts, at that time these atrioventricular valves, when ventricle contracts, atrioventricular valves will get shut, or when they snap shut, at that time the blood will not flow backward. It will not get enter into the atrium again. When these two valves snap shut, at that time the blood will not flow back into the atrium. So when they snap shut, they will produce a sound. That sound is actually which you receive as loop. Okay? Then when they contract, further both semilunar valves get open. When they get open, at that time blood will move out of the heart. Again, the blood that is coming from the body again back into the heart, or either from the lungs, at that time when blood enters into atrium, again atrium contracts, these atrioventricular valves get open. Meanwhile these valves snap shut. They snap shut. When they snap shut, what will happen? Again another sound will be produced, that is called dub. Let me explain you again. Loop dub, loop dub. These are the two sounds which will be produced by your heart. So how these two different types of sounds are produced? The first one, that is called loop. That is produced when the ventricles contract, atrioventricular valves get closed. At first instance, the sound that is produced by the snapshot of these valves is called loop. This is contraction, mean during the phase of contraction, during the phase of systole, the first sound will be produced. The second, when diastole. During the process of diastole, the blood is coming back into your heart. At that time, again, when it enters into your atrium and then enters into your ventricles, at that time, when these atrioventricular valves get open, at the same time, these semilunar valves snap shut. They get closed. When they get closed and these valves get open, they produce a sound that is called dub. So this is a sound that is produced by your heart, loop dub, loop dub, and it will make your heart beat. And this whole process is called your cardiac cycle, and we have already discussed the time that will be required to make this heart beat. Let's discuss another problem. Sometimes it may happen when a person receives electric shock or the muscles of atrium gets weak. What happens at that time? Sometimes it may happen the messages of your nervous systems get involved in the heartbeat. So a special condition is created at that time that is called fibrillation. In fibrillation, the heartbeat becomes irregular. When it becomes irregular, means at that time two different forces are involved in the heartbeat process. The one, the myogenic tissues. The second, your nervous system is going to be involved in this process. So in that case, if palpitation starts, if fibrillation starts, this fibrillation may cause heart failure. myocardial infarction may be a result. Second, sometimes it may happen when the atrium muscles get weaker with the passage of time in older age. At that time, there is a replacement of SAN node, that is called pacemaker. It's a type of battery. When this SAN, if becomes weaker, non-functional, in that case, it can be replaced with the help of pacemaker, that is an artificial battery, can be placed over here in the body just to control the heartbeat. Thank you.